Okay, now this whole procedure can be extended to 3 equations and 3 unknowns and so forth. But in this introductory section on matrices and matrix equations and so forth, we're just going to deal mostly with 2 systems, 2 equations and 2 unknowns. So we're just going to have 2 rows. So our procedure again, ideally is going to be get a 1 here, get a 0 here. Okay, then get a 1 here, then get a 0 here. That's it. If we can do that, we have a solution. Now, we can't always do that. Okay, it could be that in adding whatever multiple of this row we need to get a 0 here, we also get a 0 here. Okay? So we could have gotten a 0 and a 0, not with this system, but there are systems that would give us 0, 0. Okay, so we could get 0, 0 in the second row for some other system. I mean, what we get here is what we get, and the system determines what we're going to get. But some of the systems that we started with, matter of fact, 2 of the 3 systems that we looked at the very beginning of this whole endeavor, would give us zeros here and here. Okay? Now, if we have a 0 here and a 0 here, that means this side of the equation is 0x plus 0y, or just 0, right? So this side of the equation could be 0, and that's okay if the other side of the equation equals 0, because then we just get 0 equals 0, and that's a true statement, which means that we get solutions. That means that any solution of the first equation, any x and y that satisfy the first equation, the equation corresponding to the first row, would be a valid solution. Okay? And since there are infinitely many points on the line that's represented by this first row, there are infinitely many solutions. And that's okay, you can have that. That corresponds to when the 2 lines coincide. And we've seen that when we graphed. Okay? The other possibility, of course, is that you get zeros here and you get something besides 0 here. Which means what? Well, 0 can't equal something that's not 0. So we have no solution. So those are 2 cases. So those are basically the 3 things, yeah. Those are basically 3 things that can happen when you try to do this. Okay? One is you get your 1 here, you get your 0 here. Okay? And you don't have a 0 here, so you can multiply by the reciprocal of that number to get a 1 here. And then whatever you've got up here, you can add some multiple of this row to this to make this number 0, and you have a solution. So in this case, if by getting the 0 here, you don't get a 0 here, you got a 1 here, you got a 0 here, you don't get a 0 here, you're going to get a solution. A unique solution, a single solution. Okay, we're going to go ahead and illustrate what happens with the other 2 systems, just so you see the other things that can happen. But we're going to go through that much more quickly. I'm not going to write all the calculations out. I'll leave that to you. So in a minute, we'll come back and get that.